Welcome to the Indian Devils. So, Manchester United versus Arsenal just ended, and it wasn't good news for the United fans. But we thought we'll do something different. So, it is 2 weeks of international football now, and the boys are all going on a break. So, I thought we'll have some of the United fans and we'll have a little chat about the season, what they expect from the rest of the season, and even the Arsenal match. So, firstly, we have Vignesh Nair, who is a member of the MUFC Fans Association from Kerala, and Aditya Sharma, who's a member of the Fans Association in Chennai. How are you boys doing?
Well,
Good.
I'm doing great, bro. I'm
Yeah.
good.
So,
Not so good right now, not
yeah,
a great loss.
it is understandable. I think we had a better game than all the other games so far, though, because we
Yeah,
weren't that bad defensively. As in, the midfield league wasn't very visible like the other games, I guess.
yeah. Actually,
It's
we were good.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, bro. Yeah, so we were good, but there are like some like individual errors from some players. But yeah, that happens in football. But then saw the glimpses of the Eric Ten Hag football, like what the manager wants to implement, what he wants to do, and what he expects from the players. But like you know, it will take some time. We've seen in last season as well. We were not that progressive as we are now. But after Onana bringing in Onana and it made a big difference. We can see like we are playing out from the back more comfortably. And in the first half, we had like 56% possession. So we cannot say that Arsenal dominated the game. Like many media
Yeah.
outlets are saying that they completely dominated the game, which I completely don't agree. Second half, yes, by the end of that last 10 minutes they did, but overall I was happy with the first half we had, but the way we conceded the goal after we scored in the 35 seconds was not good enough. I think we should have done much better. Martinez, I think he lost out from the position, and Odegaard was a free man there, so I wasn't happy with that. Apart from that, the first half was very good from my perspective.
Yeah.
Second half, yeah, we should have done with some. We should have done better. But yeah,
Yeah, I
injuries.
understand. By the way, I talked about the Odegaard goal in the first half. You were right, Martinez did lose him, but it was on the transition. And the way I saw it as well, Ericsson was the man marking Odegaard, and he actually lost the man as well. Do you think
Yeah,
that is where perhaps a Mason Mount could come in handy, where defensively he's a bit more sharper maybe than, say, an Ericsson, who's kind of losing his engine a bit? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I think so. I mean, amount will make a big difference. But with the Mount, I have this issue. Like, with Mount and Bruno in midfield, they are very much energetic. Both of them are very energetic when it comes to the football, like in the football side of point, they're very energetic. So we need someone who can dictate that midfield, someone who can calm down the midfield, and that's what Ericsson brings you in the team.
Yeah,
But
true.
as again, Ericsson doesn't have that gas to, he doesn't have that engine to run non-stop for like after 50 minutes he just ran out of his gas, and
Yeah.
that's evident, that's very evident from the last 60, like after the 50 minutes
Hmm.
Arsenal were clearly dictating the game.
Yeah. Um, I think we've lost our Vignesh. Aditya, you have any thoughts on the game, right?
Oh yeah, it's very similar to what Vignesh just said. First half, like what he said, I like that we kept our defensive shape, which is what
Hmm.
we needed to do at the Emirates, especially because it's an away game, it's the Emirates,
Yeah.
so you can't really implement your style of football from the get-go. However, we were pretty solid from that. From an attacking point of view, I felt like especially in the first half, we had some trouble getting the ball from the defensive
Sorry.
side. Yeah,
No worries,
yeah.
mate.
I think we had some trouble getting the ball from the defensive side to the offense, to the attack, especially to Rashford and to Martial. So they'd had to drop back, and then you'd have the centre backs, putting pressure on them. So that's where I felt we were lacking a bit. Not that no, we didn't pose a threat. We had a chance at the counter attack. The first chance we got, it was just, bounced on the loose ball from Havertz.
Yeah.
Brilliant pass from some brilliant finish from Rashford. But that was something left. There was something left to be desired. second half, like Vignesh said, we were much better. We were more assertive on
Mm-hmm.
the offensive end, right? But a small part of me felt that Marshall could have done more in terms of putting more pressure on the center backs and being more aggressive with them. I
Mm-hmm.
felt like they were having it a bit too easy, Gabriel and Saliba, passing the ball around. And
Yeah,
that was very
talking about Martial, are you going to speak about Hoyland then? Were you going to speak about Hoyland?
definitely. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's my
yeah,
that's my
because
next.
Martial was way too passive, not just in attacking sense. He wasn't even trying for the second balls, is what I felt at some point. So, what do you think Hoyland could offer United going forward?
I mean, if you saw the game, if you've seen the moment Hoyland came on, and you are facing Gabriel, who is arguably one of the most physical, one of the most assertive defenders out there. Yeah, he's a great defender who puts his body on the line and makes
Mhm.
sure he imposes himself on any attacker who comes there. So when you have Hoyland who came in from the get-go and was in a physical battle almost immediately, he was giving Hoyland, he was giving Gabriel a very tough time,
Yeah.
especially with his physicality and especially with his pace in getting behind. Hoyland had a few close shaves here and there, maybe a penalty shout in the box. There was a particular attack which may or may not have been a penalty. Again, the game's
Yeah.
done.
You can't
Well,
question
then
officials anymore, I guess. You'll get booked for that,
can't
I
really
think.
trust officials anymore. There were three calls. Eric Ten Hag
I
had
mean,
actually.
you can't question them anymore as well because they made defender very well. They're getting booked all over the place, players at this point, I guess, for dissent. So you just have to get over it and get on with the game, I
Move
guess.
on. Yeah, but the
Yeah.
problem is they're getting very driven by the media outlets, questioning their every move, and they're like, okay, we're not going to do. They're trying to create a pattern. So like you can remember Klopp from like what a couple of seasons ago. I was complaining so much about United getting penalties, and even almost immediately after, I can't remember the last time we got a consistent amount of penalties.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
Ten Hag started to question that. For the first time since he came, he's actually questioned the referee positions, which I like because you had the Hoyland decision, you had the Garnacho offside, which was 50-50. But it was very, very suspicious. I didn't really trust that decision. And of course, you had Gabriel impeding Evans for that Rice goal, which was a clear foul. So those are three clear.
Those are the things the manager pointed out after the game as well. But I guess nothing has happened after that as well. Anyways, that was a tough game to watch, especially towards the end. It was a roller
Yeah.
coaster ride. We thought Garnacho had scored. We thought we pulled one over them at the Emirates. But, well, tough luck, I guess. That's football for you. Anyways,
Yeah.
I want to ask you, the season's still very new. We're still at the beginning stages of the season. What are your
Yeah.
expectations of this new season? This is Ten Hag's second year at charge. We've got a few players over the line for um, before deadline day as well. So, what are you expecting out of the new season?
Yeah.
Vignesh?
Yeah. So what I'm expecting is a top four finish again because clearly we are not in a state where we can challenge with the likes of City or Arsenal because those teams have improved a lot in the last, and their managers have been here for a while. Arteta have been here for like 3 years, and Pep, like he's been like for like 7 years. And look at Liverpool now. Liverpool, like Liverpool is not that team they were last season. They've got a brand new engine of midfielders, and with Gravenberg, I think they will improve. So a top four finish will be good. And yes, last season, Ten Hag, we got top four, and plus we won a trophy. So he raised the bar, but
Mhm.
unfortunately, I don't think. Yeah, unfortunately, we should have improved from that. But with the transfer window that we had, it's a solid seven. I will give a solid seven for the transfer window. But then still, the other teams have improved massively, especially Man City, Arsenal, and Liverpool. And I heard that if we finish top five,
The
that's a top
Champions
five is a
League.
Champions League
Yeah, the
spot.
new
So
Champions
yeah,
League form.
Mhm.
so yeah, I hope United finish inside top five because we need Champions League football to attract big players, big names,
Yeah.
and manager needs to be backed because if he had Ten Hag got his player like Todibo, he wanted Todibo, he didn't got. His first option was Kim Min-jae. Unfortunately, Maguire didn't let that to happen, which I agree from his perspective. Maguire is a player and he's earning a lot of salary, so it's not that easy to move him out
Yeah.
of this club. And the board didn't address the position. Like centre backs is a position that has to be addressed. You see, Man City, they've spent like over 800 million on defense. Defense wins you titles, not just attacks alone won't win you titles. You need a good defense. You need some good defenders. You need defenders who you can rely on. And unfortunately, with Varane, he always gets injured, bro. Now I'm like kind of worried about Varane. Like every time, like every single time, he's like Thomas Partey is for Arsenal.
Mhm.
During crucial game week, he gets injured, which is kind of like, make me really irritating, bro. So
Yeah, we
yeah,
do
we need
need
some
more defenders in the game, but I guess
we
we'll
need
have to
more
wait another
defenders.
season. Sharma, your thoughts on the season?
Well, again, similar to what Vignesh said, but I am very, particular about the fact that, like Vignesh said, Ted Hag set a bar, right? Then we won a trophy, we got top four, not just proper, not just like we didn't scrape through, we are comfortably in top four. Of course, that's not going to be the case this season. We have a lot more competition, the likes of Brighton, Aston Villa, Newcastle, rejuvenated Liverpool, etc. However, this transfer window has been a time when we've addressed crucial positions. We addressed the goalkeeper position, the striker position. We have a bunch of midfield. Of course, we haven't seen all of them, so we don't really have we can't really judge that right now. It's only the start of the season, and today's game was touch and go. It is what it is. We can't really judge an entire season on that. But I'd say we should, again, get top four or top five based on this Champions League rule. And at the very least, for one of the Champions League or the FA Cup, go on a very deep run where we're contending for it.
Yeah,
If I'd like it to be the Champions League, but even if we get to the FA Cup final, like last season, we played almost every game available
yeah,
to us in the
Yeah,
season, bar the Europa League, where we went out in the quarterfinals. That takes a toll on your players. And we're only seeing that now, like the Shaw, like Martinez, Varane, they're getting injured right now. So the depth we have, especially in midfield, would help us again. But unfortunately, the difference is where we're kind of suffering right now. So again, it's going to be a long season, not just for us, for everyone, other team, because they're also going to have injuries.
Mhm.
But I say that the expectations have to be there, the standard has to be there. A trophy, any cup trophy, and finishing in the Champions League positions.
Yeah, I agree. You did say we didn't see all of our new signings, which is true, but one of our new signings that played all the games was Andre Onana, and we we did understand early on that we needed a better ball playing goalkeeper than David De Gea, and we ended up signing Onana pretty early. So, and again, we've seen plenty of him. He played all the games so far. So, how do you think Onana improves the team, and do you notice the tactical tweaks that are happening because of Onana right now?
yeah, like transitional wise, I think we've improved a lot with Onana. With like he's very comfortable on his both his feet.
Mhm.
So like overall, from playing out from the back, even in the first half, we were so comfortably playing out the back. And against a team like Arsenal, who is very aggressive in front foot, their players like Martinelli, Saka, Odegaard. These are like Odegaard is the focal point of that team. He initiates that press, and the rest of them press like anything. And to coming out of this press and moving out ball so efficiently, that's because of Onana, because he is very commendable inside the box, inside our box. He's very commendable, and which is good to watch because when we had De Gea for the last 10 years, we've never seen that sort of transition play from United.
Mhm.
Now seeing that, it's very refreshing as a United fan. Yeah, there are some things that has to be improved, especially when it comes to defense. We're conceding a lot of goals lately. Even against Nottingham Forest, we've seen like we conceded 2 goals in less than 4 minutes,
Mhm.
which is kind of alarming because uh, at some point of time, some of the players lose their concentration. I've seen with this Martinez, seen with Casemiro, so that has to be improved, and I hope Eric Ten Hag will address that. Other than I don't find much mistakes, bro. But then there are some individual errors, and due to this individual errors, the other team, they make use of it.
Yeah. Sharma, do you have
Yeah.
anything to add?
So you have to understand the huge change there is moving from David De Gea to Andre Onana. So David De Gea for the last 10 years has been, or in his prime, was arguably, along with Manuel Neuer, by far the best goalkeeper in the world. I haven't seen anything like him carrying a team in his prime. And that was what we needed then. What we need now is completely different.
Mhm.
So obviously, when you're used to a goalkeeper like David De Gea with his elite positioning, his elite shot stopping to kind of get you out of those tough situations, you kind of get used to that kind of rhythm. So and as well as playing out from the back, the defenders never really went forward. So they were always cautious or wary of going back to kind of cover De Gea because he could really play out from the back. Now you have Andre Onana, a guy who is arguably, in my opinion, before he joined United, one of the best ball playing goalkeepers in the world. And you can clearly see the difference he makes, like Vignesh said, from build up play, especially against a team like Arsenal, where their pressing patterns are so intricate that, we did very well to get out of them. And Onana has so many avenues to actually exploit that, whether it's going over the top or even passing towards midfield. Uh, I feel like he's getting a lot of unfair criticism
Mhm.
because, again, he's a Manchester United goalkeeper. I think Gary Neville or someone said that the
Yeah.
Manchester United
Yeah,
goalkeeper position
that was Gary
is
Neville.
a scrutinized position. And
Yeah.
we're seeing that right now, right? The moment David De Gea goes and he comes in, the slightest mistake, or even it's not even his mistake, might be a mistake with his defender, but he concedes the goal. So the blame goes on him.
Mhm.
But the impact he's made so far is vastly different to what David De Gea is. Obviously, not the shortstopper De Gea was, and there's not a lot of shortstoppers like De Gea. However, what we need is we don't need a shortstop. We don't need a guy to keep saving. We need a guy to keep controlling, and that's what he's been doing. And the
Yeah.
defenders and the midfielders just need to get in tune to how his patterns are and how he wants his defenders to position themselves. And that's
Mhm.
going to take some time. So I feel like we should give him some time. And obviously, him playing out from the back and having a lot of courage to draw the defenders in is going to be a bit, it's not going to be great for our hearts, but it's something we're going to get used to because he knows he can do it. So let
Mhm.
him do it.
Yeah, and talking about conceding a lot of goals, last season we had the most number of clean sheets. This season so far we considered a few silly goals to say the least in counterattacks, which, to as far as I understood, it's something that's missing in midfield. They're just too open, allowing counters, allowing players to run through the heart of the team. So another signing that I want you guys to quickly add a little bit about is Sofian Amrabat. So I've not seen a
Yep.
Amrabat at the time at the World Cup. He was very solid for Morocco, and
Yeah.
even in the latest, Fiorentina is a team that likes to keep possession, likes to keep a game ticking on, and he was the heart of that. Even in the Conference League final, he had a decent game. So do you think, what are your thoughts on Amrabat as a signing? Be it a loan, it is a loan signing, but still as a signing. And do you think he could address some of the issues that we have right now?
Yes, I believe he will address some of the issues where we have right now. I think if he has to be paired with Casemiro, I think our midfield will concede. It won't be wide open like it is right now with Casemiro alone in that deep line playing like in that pivot. It's very risky because Casemiro doesn't got that legs to cover that all those sides of that position. So that's why Amrabat is very important signing, and it's a non-risky signing, especially on loan. And even if this signing flops, we can send it back. So it's not a permanent signing. And if he does well, we can get him for like 30 million pounds. And he's still only 27. So it's not a bad signing. It's a very good signing, and especially on loan, it's a very good signing. Even though the loan fees is much higher, like 10 million loan fees is very much high fee. But then yes, it's a non-risky signing. And yes, Amrabat will improve a lot. I would like to see Amrabat playing alongside Casemiro because I believe it will, you know, uh, our defense won't be shaky as it is right now. With Casemiro, Mount, and Bruno, I clearly don't agree with that. Like, I don't believe that midfield will suit well for Manchester United because clearly it doesn't suit well. We have seen against Wolves. Wolves should have won that game, bro. Had they been more clinical, they would have easily won that game. And we were wide open. Like how many chances they've got, especially we were playing at Old Trafford. We should have been controlling the games more, especially with the players like Mount, Casemiro, and Bruno. These are like on paper they look very good, but clearly there is not that chemistry between those three in that midfield. And hopefully I believe Mount will make a difference. And I would like to see Maino back in this team as soon as possible, bro, because we are clearly missing him. Even we've seen in preseason against Arsenal, he's so pressure resistant that even then they all those players, Rice, Odegaard, all those players were pressing him. He was easily coming out of that press. He's so pressure resistant, and that's a Ten Hag sort of player. Like Frankie De Jong is very pressure resistant player.
Mhm.
He easily get out of that press, and that's I think Ten Hag is looking Manu to be that sort of player. Unfortunately, he is injured, but I don't think he will be injured for a long time. He'll be back in the next few months, so I'm looking forward to see him back. Yeah,
Yeah, let's hope Mainu's back on the pitch as soon as possible. He looks like a mint talent, very young. Let's see what he has to offer. I mean, and then again, you talked about chemistry between Mount, Casemiro, and Bruno. Let's
yeah.
hope with time they improve on their chemistry and on the pitch. Sharma, do you have anything to add?
I actually want to talk about because the dynamic between Mount, Casemiro, and Bruno, and the potential dynamic we're talking about with Amrabat, Casemiro, and of course Bruno is completely different. So we knew what Eric Ten Hag's plan was when he signed Mason Mount. He wanted Casemiro to be that lone number six that is acting as a screen with in front of the defense, with Mount being that say uh, pocket playmaker.
Yeah,
That's what I
in the
like to call him.
spaces.
He's
Yeah,
very good in those tight spaces
yeah,
where he can and he can keep play. Problem is him and Bruno are similar in the way that they lose possession a lot. Bruno more so because he takes a lot of risks, and I love that because Bruno, you don't be one of the most creative players in the league without taking any risks, and that's fine.
creative machine, Kevin De Bruyne.
Creative machine, exactly. So and the dynamic works. However, we didn't really factor in Casemiro's decline because we didn't.
Mhm.
Of course, he's 31 years old. We didn't really. We thought he'd be the previous season's Casemiro. And we thought, okay, if we lose possession, we got Casemiro to clean things up. With Amrabat, however, what people at least I wasn't aware of him before the World Cup, of course, and I saw him during the World Cup, and he was incredible. And I think if the World Cup had a team of the season, he would be in it for me. He was that good. And what people don't understand is they only see the videos of him, or clips of him tackling, and that's a great part because his work rate is immense. He covers the length of the pitch. What he's really good at is he's in a bit of the Frankie De Jong vein, as in he is not as silky smooth as how Frankie De Jong is. However, he uses body well to shield the ball. He is persistent in a way that he can progress the ball up to a certain stage. He doesn't really go that forward. He
Yeah,
always stays in that second phase of play. And you see a guy like Casemiro who loves going forward, and whenever he does, he always makes things happen somewhere there. He creates.
he's in
So
the top 5 percentile of world midfielders in ball progression. So yeah,
exactly. I think
Yeah.
top 1%, if I'm not wrong.
yeah, exactly.
So when you have a guy like that, uh, and a Casemiro who we can probably use in a more advanced position because he likes doing that. Even in his slight physical decline, he is still quality in those positions. So it doesn't make any sense dropping him because he can't play that role. You play people in a pivot to kind of, so in a pivot, someone has something the other doesn't. So it would be a good fit. Same thing, what Vignesh said about Kobe Menu. He's as complete as it gets. He's 18 years old. However, he has the profile to possibly be a long-term box to box slash number six profile for us in the future. And he's someone who would very easily partner Casemiro in the pivot. Because
Mm.
Casemiro, regardless of his physical decline, the quality is there. And without that quality, we are better off with him on the field than without him. We need him. He is that good.
Mhm.
So having Amrabat or Casemiro in that pivot role would be good. That doesn't necessarily mean that Mount, Bruno, and Casemiro won't work because we can't. In my opinion, we can't really say that right now. We know from what the profiles are that it would work. The problem is you're playing Casemiro in a lone position where he's not used to it. The dynamics are completely different from last season. So asking them to immediately gel to that,
Hmm.
and especially Mount has only played 2 games, is a bit premature. So I feel like that should be given time because even that against teams that kind of sit back against these relegation teams or these mid-table teams that tend to sit back would be good having a Mount in that role. So you
Mhm.
have profiles for two different types of football, a type of football as well as a defensive type of football.
Anyways, as we said, this is something new that we're doing on the website in the Indian Devils. Um, let this be the first of many to come, because my plan is to
Yeah.
do this every month or two, just to keep everybody updated and just to know what the fans are thinking. Um, Maybe next time we'll get a few more fans in and we'll have a talk about the whole thing, about how things are going. Now, do you guys have any last messages to the Manchester United fans across India who will be waiting for a couple of weeks now watching international football, missing out on the boys on the pitch? Do you have any message for them?
Stay off Twitter.
Yeah,
Always.
my message would be like back the manager because it's a cycle, bro. Every year we've seen, like every 2 years, we've seen this with Ole. Yes, Ole has to take some blame, but with Ten Hag, I can see what he's trying to implement. So back the manager, and it's not everything is not his fault. Yes, he has to take some accountability, but you can't blame Ten Hag for everything. As long as the Glazers are in charge, this club won't go forward. I
Yeah.
swear, because this is I think this is a platform which I should speak about it because with Glazers we have seen how cities like the transfer policy of my club. I just hate it. We are just going for this, signing players for like 75 million without not looking at their track record. So we should, improve our transfer policy and our club should explore the markets more, the transfer market more, and managers should be, yes, I agree. Every time you won't get your first target, you won't get your primary target, but that doesn't mean that you don't even negotiate properly. Look how Bayern got Kane and Kim Min Jae. That's a kind of a profile that Ten Hag wants in Manchester United. But unfortunately, with this board, uh, it won't happen. So give some Ten Hag some time. That's the message I want to send to the fans all over in India. Give him time. Back the manager. Uh, this is a kind of a manager we've got after a long time who's very progressive in his mindset, who wants to play a attacking brand of football. We've seen with Jose, we've seen with Van Gaal, we've seen with Ole, the kind of football that we played, it wasn't that good enough, or it wasn't that progressive. But with Ten Hag, we've seen with how his Ajax side have played in Champions League foot, how his Ajax side has played in the first division football. So back the manager. That's all I want to say.
Yeah. So
I
there's
also
three.
kind of
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, sir. I actually want to echo what Vignesh also said, but basically
Mhm.
saying that we back the manager because what I have loved about what Ten Hag has done and what Ten Hag plans to do is his style of football in every club has been different, but it has its core principles. And what Ten Hag is doing is, especially with Manchester United, is he wants to include his principles and you know be in touch or go along with the identity of whichever club is in, whether it's Utrecht, whether it's Ajax, and whether it's Manchester United, and that's fast counter-attacking football, which is we've done for decades
Yeah.
since the 1950s. So he wants to do both, and he wants to create that style of football which is entertaining. Because end of the day, the theater dreams has always seen entertainment, and he wants to carry that. So
Mhm.
he clearly understands what this club is all about. And this guy has the what it takes to actually be a long-term Manchester United manager. So no matter what, we
Yeah.
have to back because not everything will be his fault because we know the challenges he's going to face.
Yeah. So that's the two messages from our United friends from India. Stay off Twitter and back the manager. And I'll be doing at least one of them without fail. Uh, that's backing the manager for your information. Anyways,
Yeah.
guys, it's been a pleasure having you on the chat. So take care and glory, glory, man united.